live, baby. All right, y'all. We're live and in full effect. What up? What it is? What's popping? It's the neighborhood nice guy, KDot, and I have none other than my gracious co-host, Lolivia Pope, with me. And welcome to Keeping It 9450, code name WBB. This is our Monday night live in the W. We premiere everything WNBA. So let's get right into it. We're going to recap a few games. We're going to talk about the Aces and the Fever. We're going to dig in a little bit into the Jonquel Jones injury and its impact. We're going to do a little bit of reaction to Angel McCoughtry's comments on Haley Van Lith and just highlight some rookies, teams, and coaches that are turning heads in 1 month in the league. But first, our sponsors. Planning to catch a WNBA game live? Well, use SeatGeek, the smartest ticket app out there. Get $20 off your first purchase by using the code the9450. That's extra cash to flex for your team gear. Grab a snack in the arena, do whatever you want. Don't just watch, be there. So, we're here, we're black, we're blessed, in the words of my great sister over here, Lolivia Pope.
Absolutely.
So, let's just jump right into it. In the first segment, we're going to talk about is the Aces Fever recap. Now, the game was an extremely great game, and the Aces break their three-game slump, taking the crown from Indiana 89 to 81. Asia Wilson, who was gracious in her interview, saying that she didn't play the best, but still had 24 points, 7 rebounds, and one of the most crucial blocks to kind of like seal the game
Mhm.
to at the end of it. So, Lo, I want to get your thoughts on this game. I want to see, what you thought from a, analytic standpoint and just from an overall game standpoint. So, let's start with the Aces first. What did you see from the Aces side that was very intriguing to you for them to get this win?
I think the thing that impressed me the most was just it was a collective win. Like it was a win by committee. Everyone chipped in because, like you said previously, Asia didn't start the game off well. She was 2 for 12 in the first half, and we're just not accustomed to seeing Asia shoot that poorly. Um, so I think it was a great sign for Aces fans. It was a big win for them, but a great sign that even when Asia is struggling a little bit, that the others can kind of step up and help them get over that mountain. So for me, the biggest difference in the game were the bench points. The Aces won that battle 18-2. And a lot of that comes from the rookie Aaliyah Nye knocking down some big shots in her moments that she's given. Like every time she's out there, she does something positive to impact the game. And I just couldn't talk about the Aces without talking about her impact on this particular game. The second stat that jumped off the page for me was just the turnovers. Indiana had 16 turnovers, which led to 28 Aces points. And in my opinion, that's honestly the ball game right there. With Asia Wilson, of course, like we said, 2 for 12 from the field in the beginning, but somehow still ended the game with 24.7 boards and 2 blocks. Like that just goes to show how great of a player Asia is. And I know I've been seeing a lot of discourse on the timeline with people saying that Aaliyah Boston's defense on Asia really stifled her in the first half. And this is no disrespect to Aaliyah Boston's defense because I do think that she played decent defense. But Asia was just flat out missing shots that she typically makes. Like she was still getting to her spots easily. She was still getting good looks. She was just flat out missing. I mean, she was even missing layups. So shout out to Aaliyah Boston's defense, but Asia was just flat out missing. And we're just used to seeing her play at such an elite level. It's almost like confusing when she doesn't shoot the ball well. But it happens, right? It happens.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Yeah, Aaliyah Boston, obviously a really, really great defender in her own right. But when you have like that premier matchup between Asia and Aaliyah right there, like on the block or even at the pinch post, all the way extended out to the elbow. I mean, it's always great to see how they kind of mix with each other. And like you said, like Asia has some really, really good looks. Like I
Yeah.
know a couple of them where she was kind of fading in between that pinch post and elbow where they were literally like in and out misses. Like I'm
Hmm.
talking about surefire jump shots that she normally hits in
Right.
other games. Just it was just missing. And what's crazy is as a 91% free throw shooter, like she was missing. She missed a few at the free throw line as well. And I know that in that third quarter, I believe she was talking to the sideline reporter, and she was like, "Oh my God, like I just suck right now. Like
Yeah.
I just needed to get right." So that was very, very crucial because I think in the third quarter that's when she turned it up a little bit,
Hmm.
which was really, really good for the Aces because I think it kind of opened up the offense a lot more. But I got to give credit to Aaliyah Nye, sharpshooter,
Yeah.
sharpshooter. We spoke about Aaliyah Nye very highly. We also gave our constructive critique on her from a defensive standpoint. We kind of feel like sometimes she gets herself in trouble because I think she's um, very, 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 I guess, overzealous, if you will,
Like
at the
over
point of attack. Yeah,
anticipating.
like she over anticipates a lot, and
Yeah.
sometimes, she loses that step, and the offense just takes advantage. But she, by all means, a really, really good defender, and she's a rookie. She's a rookie.
Hmm.
So, growing pains are going to be there, but she was incredible in that game, shooting some really, really crucial shots that built on that Aces run against the Fever. And speaking of the Fever, Aaliyah Boston, right? 26
Hmm.
and 10. Kelsey Mitchell added 20. And then Caitlin Clark had a really bad shooting. Now she's been having a really bad shooting night the past, what, 2 or 3 games. Like I think
Yeah.
in the last 2 games, 1 for 17 from
Yep. One
three.
for 17 from
That's
distance.
wild, right?
Yeah.
Like she still ended with 19 points and 10 rebounds, right? A double double.
Right.
But like the shooting slump after going nuclear on the New York Liberty, after her first game back from the quad injury, like,
Hmm.
what do you think is going on there?
I think it's a number of things. The quad could be
Hmm.
bothering her. I think she could just be in a shooting slump.
Yep.
Shooters get into
It
shooting
happens.
slumps,
It
so she
happens.
just has to shoot her way out of it. You
Absolutely.
1 for 17 is nuts, but like when you're a shooter, you just gotta shoot your way out of it. So I think she'll be fine, of course. The one thing I do like about Caitlyn is that even when she's not shooting well, her body language is piss poor sometimes, most times when
Hmm.
she's not shooting well. However, she does affect the game in other ways. She'll go
Right.
rebound the ball, she'll play make. In the first 12 minutes of the game, she already had 8 assists. Like that girl can just flat out pass the ball. And one
Absolutely.
thing I like about the Fever is that pick and roll with her and Aaliyah Boston. It's
Lethal.
one of my absolute favorite things to watch in all of basketball, man or woman. Like one of my favorite things to watch, a thing of beauty because you can just see their chemistry and synergy growing game by game, and it just looks so good. It's almost unstoppable. And then when they threw in the double drag screen, I mean, it was just a thing of beauty. So I'm like, the Aces can't stop this. Why are we going away? Why are they going away from this?
Absolutely.
Um, I think that they should have continued to operate out of the pick and roll until the Aces kind of stop them. I think Becky did make some adjustments with switching, and you would see Asia out on Caitlin Clark sometimes and was holding her own. Got a hand
Yes.
up, had her
Yes.
hands up all in her face, just to make sure that she couldn't see where the rim was. I mean, Asia did pretty well for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it was some miscommunication where Caitlyn would be able to get an easy bucket at the rim. But for the most part, when they were switching, Asia was holding her own. But Aaliyah Boston, I mean, enough can't be said about her this year. She's just been playing great on both ends of the field. And then I can't not talk about Kelsey Mitchell and especially the fourth quarter that she had. Went on a
Yep.
6-0 run on her own, ended the game with 20 points. And she put them back in striking distance in that fourth quarter.
Yeah. And you know what? The backcourt tandem of Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell is one thing. Like we all know about the pick and roll with Caitlin and Aaliyah. And like you said, one of the most beautiful pieces of basketball that you're going to see. But what gets me more interested is sometimes when you look at the Caitlin Clark Kelsey Mitchell tandem, like when that tandem is hot, that tandem is hot,
Yeah.
right? Just like you said, Kelsey can come off of the double drag screen, or she can come off the elevator screen, or you can even run some Iverson with her with
Hmm.
Caitlin handling the ball, and just Kelsey just getting downhill. Like she has such a quick first step,
Yes.
and it's a really, really good form of like artwork, honestly, from
Yeah.
a footwork standpoint. So like Kelsey has been really, really doing her big one. And I
And
gotta
just real
salute
quick,
her
with
for
her
sure.
with her first step, first of all, I think she has one of the quickest first steps in the WNBA. Like
That's a fact.
it's honestly top three, and I don't even know who I'm putting above her to be honest. Like she has a very quick step. That one play when she went around Asia and just laid it up on her and got the and one, I said,
Yeah, yeah,
"Ooh,
yeah. And
that's what a
use her
defensive
body
player."
to yeah,
Absolutely. Great play. But aside from her having a very quick step, because she's undersized, she keeps the ball so low. She's fast. And
absolutely.
because her point of gravity is so low, it's hard for them to defend her.
Yeah,
So you're right, when her and Caitlin are clicking on all cylinders, this is a very difficult Indiana team to beat.
yeah, for sure. So Vegas showed their toughness. Indiana still kind of show a little bit of promise. And they we're not going to talk about rivalry or anything because this is a wild stat. Like Asia is like 90, it's like a crazy
It's
number
like over
versus
95%,
it's
right?
over
Yeah.
95%, like even like 97.1% or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that is wild
That is
versus
wild.
one team.
But that also shows you how bad the Fever have been for
That's
years.
true too. That's true too. Hey, but it was a great game. I do think that it was one of the most premier matchups, right, on a Sunday that you could watch, right?
Yeah.
But just to segue into this next segment, this is something that's important, of course, to us because something happened this weekend. Within this conversation in particular, and we're going to talk about the Liberty and Jonquel Jones. We all were blessed to have the opportunity to, premiere on New York's Got Game with Dexter Henry, and shout out to Dexter Henry of the New York Post and SNY, and like it was a great experience, right? I was
Yeah.
able to go in studio and just talk about Jonquel Jones and the impact of this injury. It is reported that she will be out approximately 4 to 6 weeks,
Yeah.
re-aggravating that right ankle when that she came back with in that game versus the Phoenix Mercury on last Thursday, which I was there to cover the game as well. So talking about this in studio, like I said, it was a great opportunity. It gave the 9450 an opportunity to be seen. Like a lot of us know who, I mean, you guys know who we are, but like this kind of gave us an opportunity to kind of know who we really, really are in this space. And we were very gracious to be able to do that. So the experience was cool. I really enjoy, the hospitality. And we're talking about a player whose impact to this team is 1,000 times more than what people want to believe.
Yeah.
And it's proof in the pudding, when Jonquel Jones is healthy and active and the anchor, the Liberty are technically unstoppable.
Yeah.
Technically, I wouldn't say, unbelievably unstoppable. But she's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. And it's definitely a potential season changer with the Minnesota Lynx just still firing at all cylinders with Nafisa Collier out, with the back injury. I mean, they're winning without Nafisa
Hmm.
Collier. New York isn't technically winning without Jonquel Jones. I know what it's been three, maybe 4 games, and their record is probably what 500 or maybe a game under 500 without Jonquel. So, how much of an impact this is for the New York Liberty, and should we be concerned about this loss for 4 to 6 weeks? And can the Liberty turn some things around without her?
I think it's a significant loss for the Liberty, for obvious reasons because of what JJ produces on the floor. But honestly, I've been saying it all year. I think the team is very talented, but she's the engine of this team. When JJ plays well, the Liberty typically win. Like you said, we saw the stat all on Twitter, all on social media, where Anytime JJ has a double double, the Liberty are undefeated. We're talking about a former MVP and a former Finals MVP just last year, averaging near a double double this year, 12 points per game, 9 boards on 47% shooting. Um, and just to put it in perspective, in the last 5 games she played, including the one that she got hurt, she had 3 double doubles out of those 5 games. So I think the areas that will mainly be affected is the interior defense and second chance points because JJ is so active on the offensive boards and because of her length and her size, she takes up a lot of ground and especially for the defensive side, like she just interrupts a lot in the paint. And
Right.
so the good thing is that the Liberty are so deep so they do have players like Niara Sabli that'll take up some of the minutes, and Izzy Harrison, I'm sure her minutes will increase as well. But the issue is those are big shoes to fill, especially when you already have Phoebus out, Sabrina's dealing with some type of neck injury.
Yeah.
This is going to make the workload extremely heavy on Stewie and extremely heavy on Natasha Cloud because last game 3 starters were out against Seattle. And I think specifically for Natasha Cloud, she started off the year very well, but the last couple of games has been in a little slump. So she has to, get going and be consistent for this team until they're able to get healthy bodies back on the floor. My biggest thing is looking at the next 10 games, the Liberty have 7 road games. And we all know because they are the defending champions, everyone's going to give them their best shot. So I'm really interested to see how they go, how they do on these next 10 games and how they kind of stay afloat until JJ's able to get back.
Yeah. And I mentioned, on Sunday or well, yesterday about the crucial games, right? Because
Yeah,
they're on a 4 game road trip this coming week, right? They had the Seattle Storm, which they dropped 89-79 on last night, which I said was a crucial game for them to win because you want to start off the
the road
road
trip, right?
trip right. You want to
Yeah,
start it off right. And we know that the Seattle Storm is a very, very hungry team. They feel like they could be one of the top 4 teams, right?
yeah,
And they came out and showed why. I
yeah,
know that they were without Sabrina Ionescu last night, but again, like you said, like with the talent pool I think that they would be able to sustain, a few wins. Unfortunately, that didn't happen last night. Skylar Diggins, Nneka Bumake, like
yes,
they went off. Like it
yes,
was a really, really good game. And one thing that impresses me the most out of this Seattle team is Erica Wheeler
yeah,
doing her big one, right?
biggest,
Like she has been a huge spark for this Seattle Storm team, and they have been playing really, really good basketball. I think they had to get some chemistry things worked out, which I think they're slowly but surely getting into that. You've seen it in their past couple wins against the Aces and the Liberty. So, and especially against the Minnesota Lynx, that was very, very important as well. So, I think that the Seattle Storm, is very much ready to contend, for that top 4 spot.
yeah,
But for New York, going back to them, right? Just like you said, people have to step up. Jonathan Kolb did not put this roster together for them not to figure, those things out when the stars of a JJ's caliber or the stars of a Sabrina Ionescu's caliber is out with some type of injury. Like this is what you prepare for. So like you said, Niara Sabali, she's gonna have to step up. Izzy Harrison, shout out to you. I call you the mayor of Nashville. There's a reason why I call you the mayor of Nashville. So it's players like her that's going to have to step up. There's going to be players like Kennedy Burke, who has again done a phenomenal job this year,
yeah,
right? But she has to step up, in the absence of JJ. So it's going to have to be by committee. And I'm not going to just talk about the front court. I got to talk about the back court as well.
mm-hmm,
We gotta talk about Natasha Cloud's energy. She's always going to try to give you some type of consistency, whether she's not making offensive plays. from a scoring standpoint, she's definitely going to try to make that up on the defensive end. You see it every given night. You
Yeah.
see that she's been playing with a purpose this year after everything that happened this past season, with the trade, with the uncertainty of her playing in Connecticut and then ending up getting traded to New York.
Hmm.
So the energy is going to always be there. I want to see more from Marine Johannes, a favorite by everyone's
Hmm.
definition, a favorite. So, she's going to have to step up, right? Rebecca Gardner is going to have to step up, a lot. So, there's a lot by committee that we're going to have to see step up, for the New York Liberty in order for them to get through this 7 game stretch on the road. And starting, with this 4 game stretch, they got the Valkyries coming up. I said that could be a trap game, win or lose in that last Storm game that they played. They lost. So now, do you want to come in with a hot Golden State team and end up going starting 0-2? You don't want to do that.
Right.
So it is definitely going to be very, very interesting to see. Do you have anything else
I
kind of
just
like to
wanted
chime
to
into?
just shout out Seattle for a second. Skylar and
Yeah.
NECA have been doing their biggest. First of all, the X factors to me are Gabby Williams and
Yes.
Erica Wheeler.
Yes.
I'm
They
not quite
hooping.
sure what Ezzy's doing. That's a whole nother story for another podcast. However, those are the X factors, but Skylar and NECA have been so consistent for this team in the first 12 to 14 games. Like
Very much
they've
in
just been
sync.
so consistent. 46 points last night out of the 89 points that Seattle scored. And I just want to tip my hat off because Skylar is playing at an all WNBA team level. Honestly speaking, she's probably playing like the best point guard in the league if we're keeping it a buck. She's playing 35 minutes a game, only one turnover, and it's something to be said about her ability to read the plays right, just make right reads, and also taking care of the ball. 6 assists, 20 points on 40% shooting from long distance. And then NECA, one of the best players ever to grace the basketball court. I love Skylar's um, ability to give her flowers in the presser yesterday and just talking about how much she loves NECA, how consistent she's been, how she's great on and off the court, being the president of the WNBA like just hats off to NECA. Like, and just looking back at her career in the WNBA, 14 years and shooting over 50% in all 14 years.
That's
No other
wild.
WNBA player has done that. Like when we talk about best players of all time, NECA needs to be somewhere in that top 15, that top 15 range. Elite on
Yeah,
both
when
ends of
it's
the
all said
floor.
and done.
Yeah, I mean, elite on both ends of the floor and continues to add to her game. We know she extended her game, but now she's shooting a 3 point at a higher clip. Like last season, I looked it up, she's shooting 40%. This year, she's shooting, I think, 36% from long distance. So every year, she's just continuing to add to her game. And I just wanted to take a shout out. I just want to take a second to shout out Skylar and NECA because even though they're, vets and have been in the league 10 plus years, they're still doing their big ones out there for sure.
Yeah, they're for sure doing their big ones. And speaking of the big ones, when you break down tape or going through any type of drafts, make sure you have Welsh Mode coffee because it keeps you locked in. Make sure you fuel your hustle with Welsh Mode coffee. And also, when we're talking about certain comments, certain analysis, breaking down tape and going through drafts and all of that, let's talk about these former players, right? So going into this next one, I think that it's is really, really interesting when we have, players of all calibers, current players, former players who are talking about the game, analyzing the game, criticizing the game, doing whatever they need, about the game. It's very funny how they have certain critiques about other players. And something occurred a couple days ago
Yeah.
where Angel McCoughtry had a few words about Haley Van Lith. And I'm just paraphrasing when I say this. She mentioned that maybe this whole intersection of social media and basketball has probably given players a little bit more privilege and access.
Yeah.
because she said if HVL only had 10,000, maybe 15,000 followers, would she be a first round or would she be a WNBA player? Wow. Thoughts on that?
I think my first thought is Sister Girl was hating because she's not in the league any longer. And I love Angel down. She's been on the show. Love her down. Think she has an elite bag when she was playing in the W, but you got to look at it from an optic standpoint. You've been trying to get back into the league since COVID. You're hating, bro. Like that's what it looks like to me. And I think I'm gonna go into reasoning, but I think it is a conversation that eventually does need to be had about your popularity dictating your opportunities as the NIL deals continue to get bigger because owners might look at it from a marketing standpoint like, hey, this player might not be great, but they can bring money to our franchise, right? I think we are eventually going to step into that realm. Hopefully not, but I think I can see it going to that. I don't think Haley fits in that box. I don't. I think it's a few factors. Angel, first of all, at Angel's alma mater, Haley was a dog there, an absolute bucket. Had a great run in the ACC tournament her sophomore year, and in her junior year, she took off, averaging 19 points per game, 3 assists, and 4 boards. She had an off season, of course, at LSU, but in my opinion, that was more so because of fit. And then she hooped last year at TCU. Now, I would be lying to you guys if I said I thought that Haley Van Lith before the draft was a first rounder. I did not see it. And I did not see it not because I didn't think she was a WNBA player. I didn't see it because she's undersized and she has difficulty with aggressive defense. So, and I knew that she would be a liability on the defensive end because she's so small, for these strong, like 6+ women, right, in the WNBA. So that was always my hesitation. Her ability to play basketball, that was not my hesitation with that. I just didn't think she was going first round. But so for me, three things. Angel looks like she's hating. Secondly, the WNBA is a small sorority of 156 women in it. Like, you couldn't have saved that for the group chat. Why are you downing your fellow sisters? Like, you were once in that position. So for me, it's just almost like, Angel, you have to read the room. This is a young lady that just came out last season saying she battles with mental health and she has suicidal ideations. And this is what you say after she has literally done pretty well in her opportunities when she's been playing for Chicago this year. She's put in a very difficult situation where Sloot went out with a season ending injury, and now she's getting more minutes than she would have probably got if Sloot wasn't hurt. So she's already in a tough situation on a struggling team. And so then you decide to further dogpile on her. Like, it to me, it just doesn't make sense. I think it was a weak move. I think when you are a part of something so special like the WNBA sorority, you try to protect your sisters. Like, and if you felt that way, everyone is entitled to their opinion. Sister, keep it in the group chat. Keep it in the group chat.
Yeah, especially when we talk about from a sisterhood standpoint point,
Yeah.
like comments like that can be damaging, right? When we're also talking about the optics, like you said, the optics just didn't look good, in this scenario. And Angel is a very, very, very great person. And like again, we're talking about the intersection between branding and basketball. I mean, it's going to happen. Like it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere anytime
Yeah.
soon. NIL has sparked massive other conversations. But for HVL in particular, like I think in her opportunities, she has been taking great advantage of it, and I'm actually proud of her because
Yeah.
yeah, she did play her way out of the first round, like she
Yep.
did,
Yep.
respectfully, and for her to do what she did at TCU this past year, I think she played her way. To me, if I'm looking at it from an analysis standpoint, she played her way back into that high second round. I didn't have her as a first round grade, but
Right.
she's a first round grade. We
Yeah.
can't, you know, we can't. I mean, can we argue it? Maybe, but it is what it is. Like
Right.
it's there. So, we just have to continue. to watch her development because I think she will develop a little bit more, and we'll see what great things she does.
And the last thing I
So
have on that is like, why hate when it's already enough hate out there about the WNBA?
that's a fact. Yeah, let's try to keep that. I mean, yeah, let's really try to keep that at bay because the more we try to amplify the game, obviously the more haters are going to be out there to try to
Right.
diminish it.
Yeah. And we don't
So,
need your own to be doing the
yeah,
same.
like when you are an alum, and might I add, I'm gonna be respectful when you are still a free agent because I know you still want to hoop and I know
Yep.
you still have the ability to do it.
Yep.
So I wouldn't even say an alum. I wouldn't even say, a legend of the game right now because you still want to be out there. So even as a free agent, like again, the optics matter. And nowadays, front offices don't look like front offices of 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So they look very, very much new, very into social media. So, the optics are very, very important from this standpoint. So I want to kind of bring it in a little bit with this final segment because we're 1 month in pretty much into the season. And I want to just talk about, your favorite rookie, favorite team, and favorite coach surprises. So we're not technically in midseason form just yet, but
Right.
a month in, there's been tons of great basketball going on. So and we're going to start with the rookies. Who have you seen has been spectacular to you? And then we'll jump to team and then coach.
Okay. Just right off bat, Kiki Iriafen. Like
Kiki.
I just didn't expect this, especially right away. And I think watching her at USC last year, it really like made me look at her differently. Like
Hmm.
she just the eye test, the numbers are there because I went back and looked. The numbers are very similar. She averaged 18 and 9 last year at USC.
Yeah.
But the eye test,
Optically.
it didn't look good. Like it literally did not look good. So I'm like, if she's struggling on Big Ten players, what the hell is she gonna do in the WNBA? But sister has shut me completely up. She's averaging 13 points, 8 boards a game on 50% shooting. But the most important part of this is that Kiki is playing the hardest position in the WNBA. She's playing the four. So she has to face Stewie, Fee, Asia on a nightly basis. And she's still out there able to get her own. She's already breaking WNBA records, the fastest player to score 50 points and 50 boards in the first 5 games, the second WNBA rookie in history to post 4 double doubles in their first 5 professional games. Just absolutely hooping. And I'm just so proud of her. Like, I just love it. Like, she's been shockingly surprising and consistently just playing well.
Yeah. And I see your Kiki Iriafen, and I'm gonna raise you a Sonia Citron, her teammate,
Yep.
averaging 14.3 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists with efficient shooting. She has been nothing sort of amazing for the Washington Mystics. I really enjoy her game. Always had a pro game, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But now you can see exactly what we were talking about when she was at Notre Dame, playing next to an Olivia Miles, playing next to a Hannah Hidalgo. Like
Yeah.
she was and is the real deal. She's coming off a 27 point, I think 11 rebound game against the Wings. Like her shooting, her defense, her
Man.
playmaking, it's just there. Like she's kind of giving me Katie Douglas vibes. When,
Okay.
like
I could see that.
Katie was such the work woman when it comes to just getting buckets,
Yep.
getting rebounds, and playing solid defense.
Yeah.
And you couldn't leave her open
Yeah.
because she could shoot the thing too. And that's where I feel like that's what she's giving me right now. And she's so poised to me as a
Yeah.
rookie.
Yeah.
And for her and Kiki to have the amazing, start of the season that they've had, like I love this rookie class,
Yeah.
but I love this Washington Mystics draft class even more. And Georgia Amore isn't even playing.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
been very, very, very good to watch these two play, and I'm excited to see what else. We talked about this before we move on to teams. We talked about this. Win or lose, the Washington Mystics are fun to watch.
Yeah.
They just are.
And going to play hard for 40 minutes.
40 minutes. They're gonna play hard. So I really gotta tip my hat off to those rookies for sure. So teams.
The first team that came to mind for me were the Phoenix Mercury.
We on the same page, my sister.
Listen, before the season started, I barely had them making the playoffs. I'ma just keep it a buck.
Really?
I didn't trust the coach, number one, and I just didn't know how Satu Ka and AT would mesh together. Like I knew they
Uh-huh.
would be solid, but I didn't know how well the rest of the team would be. But baby, those rookies over there
Yes.
have been
Yes.
hooping and playing great minutes. Like, because we have to remember the Phoenix Mercury are sitting in the third place overall at 11-4 on the
Yep.
season. And that's with both Ka and AT missing multiple games. Ka missed half near the damn, so far, she missed most of the season. Coming back, I think she played like 2 or 3 games so far. And they were still able to keep their head above waters when one of the best players, we got to remember, Kalia literally had a career high in points last year. Last year was the best career year that she had. So, you're missing that pivotal of a piece for your team, and you still third overall in standings. Listen, Satu been holding them down, 19-8 on the season so far. I love what Phoenix is doing, and I think that if they keep playing at this elite level and Kai gets back to how we know she can play, this team can upset some top teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, 1000% agree. I had the Phoenix Mercury as well. And my eyes didn't deceive me on Thursday. Like they looked really good against the New York Liberty. Yeah,
Yep.
again, for the latter part of the game, Jonquel Jones was out. But when I saw Monique Akoa Makani in that mid-range, in that corner shot, like she was just flat out hooping. And I
Yeah.
gotta give a shout out to her. She was like just impressive to me. Shout out to Alfred. Coriette because I sat next to him at the game and we was just talking about her development and he was just saying that she's always had that bag, always had
Yeah.
that mid-range bag. So I was like, dag,
Yeah,
like
Alfred be on he be knowing the overseas stuff too.
shout out
Shout
to
out to
him for
him.
sure.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoy, watching them play. And they were very, very impressive. So, one thing that I want to do before we go to coach, I do have to give a quick shout out to Te-Hina Paopao, another rookie out of the Atlanta Dream,
Yes.
shooting an astounding 57.1% from three. I feel like, and Larry, I love you. I know you don't have any kind of skin. You got skin, but you leave it up to the front office and the coaching staff. I need to see my girl play just a little bit more, just a little bit more. I
At
need
this
to
point, I'm ready to
I need to
lobby for her to start.
yeah, I need to see that because she is balling out of her mind when she's on the
Yeah.
floor.
Yep.
Like, definitely a big positive when she's on the floor. An elite shooter, a
Yes.
great playmaker. She's making really, really good decisions.
Yes.
The transition from Oregon to South Carolina and her improving defensively, that's a Dawn Staley skill improvement. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says. It's a
KDot,
Dawn
they
Staley.
told me Don can't develop guards.
That's a Don Staley skilled improvement. That's what that is, and that's why she transferred.
And that's
That's
why she
exactly
stayed an
why,
additional year
and
because
that's why
Don
she stayed
told
in the
her
yes,
these are the things that you need to work on in order to be
absolutely,
successful in the WNBA. And what does she do? You could literally tell, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but you could literally tell in the first game South Carolina played last year that Pow Pow was different because
absolutely,
she wasn't just hanging around the 3 point line. Like she was aggressively going to the hole. She was defending, like, picking up full court. Like she was just, you could just tell that her game was completely different. And I take my hat off to her for putting in the work, but also Don Staley for getting her to that level.
absolutely. And speaking of coaches, obviously, I have to give credit to Cheryl Reeve right now.
Yeah.
The Lynx, I mean, top team, always been a phenomenal coach. a great coach, Hall of Fame coach. But for her to do what she's doing with this Minnesota Lynx team, they're out for blood. They're playing well without Nafisa Collier again. So that goes to show how well the roster has been built. It goes to show how well she's been coaching. And I took again, tilt my hat off to her.
Yeah, I'm going actually on the West Coast to Golden State side.
Yeah,
Natalie
shout out to Natalie, yo. It
Natalie
was
has been in her absolute Birkin. And I know people might look at this and be like, Lauren, they're only sixth place. This is a
still,
brand new
this is
franchise, y'all.
yeah, it's an expansion team.
They have already topped the amount of wins that new franchises typically have in their first season in the WNBA. So this is a team that I didn't even think would win more than 12 games this season, and they're already sitting at 7-6. So right now they're currently ranked higher than the Aces and Fever, two teams that people thought were going to be in the top four overall. And so right now, Natalie has them playing at an elite level. She has them all locked in. She has them bought into her system. She has them executing to a T. She has her team sitting at number one in overall rebounds, number three, third in steals, and third in free throw shooting. Like they're hooping in Golden State. And the fun part about that team is number one, they won a lot of games without their star player in Tiffany
Right.
Hayes, but also because it's a team comprised of role players, they each know their role and they play it to a T. They're very unselfish with the basketball. They play hard for 40 minutes. They're a fun team to watch. Even though I said I was going to hate watch all year, I can't even lie. I can't even lie. They're fun to watch.
The hate watched and turned into the fun watch.
Yeah, it's sad to see.
Ain't that something? Well, that'll do it for tonight's episode of Keeping It 9450, codename WBB. Couple of quick hitters. We talked about the Aces and the Fever. The Liberty needs to recalibrate a little bit. McCoughtry versus HVL. Talked about our rookies, especially with Citron and Iriafen, Paopao, Akoa Makani. The proof of this class is very, very deep. And then we talked about some teams, more importantly, the Phoenix Mercury, and of course, coaches in Natalie Nakase and Cheryl Reeves. So that's a wrap for Monday Night Live. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure you rate, subscribe, follow us. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. Make sure you follow my girl Lolivia Pope here at Lolo Bike and not the impersonator. Please report those accounts. Again, please report those. You can follow myself on Twitter at k.lu3h. Follow the 9450 on Twitter at the 9450. On TikTok at the 9450 underscore, as well as Instagram at the 9450 underscore. Also on YouTube at the 9450. So until next week, guys, stay locked in. Love is